And listen, I think part of our success for the last 3 years has been an unadulterating transparency with the audience. We're in a bad place right now. And I have to be the peacemaker here because I've got 1, 2, 3 guys very upset right now with Evan Roberts. And they're not upset because of some silly take you might have had on the drive home from another brutal loss last night by the New York Mets 2-1. And we all knew after that 2-run home run, it was going to end 2-1. There was no doubt about that. And Verlander can only go 5. And bad strikes and balls calls and check swings and this and that and the other thing. But Evan Roberts has decided to rear the ugly afternoon Evan Roberts head here. And frankly, I don't want to go out like that. And I've got everybody running to me saying, what happened to our special lunch today at Adorale on Hudson Street? Tommy's waiting at the restaurant. Triple V's waiting at the restaurant. Big Mac was waiting here to walk over to the restaurant. Mm-hmm. And you reached out to me at 10:48 this morning saying, yeah, I'd like to go to the restaurant, but my father-in-law made 38 quesadillas. Is that cool? And I'm like, yeah, it's cool by me. Yeah. But you didn't tell anybody else.
So here's the smoking gun,
Bad
Craig.
job.
I said it to the man of the hour, Craig Carton, going through his last few.
You can't put this on me.
Oh, I can.
No,
and I got the evidence. I said, Craig, not sure if you still want to do lunch.
Oh, come on.
I'm not only coming
out
with 38 quesadillas, I'm coming with cake as well.
Yeah, where's the cake?
The cake is being cooled in my refrigerator.
Okay.
It's tres leches, and it also has a very special message written on said cake.
And by the way, Jose, your father-in-law, is a great chef, and I enjoyed the quesadillas. Oh. And I'm good, and you're good.
Big Mac was so excited. He didn't even wait for you to get in. He started eating those quesadillas.
By the way, I walk into my office today. There are 4 open containers of different types of like condiments and sauces, quesadilla sauces, and tomatillo sauce and guacamole. And there's a huge tinfoil cooking sheet with no joke about 30 to 40. He wasn't lying. He had about 30 to 40 quesadillas, and I'm grateful for it. Your father-in-law's a great guy. B, he's also a former professional chef and very good at it. So you and I are good.
Right.
It's the support staff.
Craig,
that feels like you let them down.
So let me finish.
Yeah.
So when I suggest to Craig, since again, he's the man of the hour.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a lot of cases coming in. I got cake coming in. Do you think we should cancel lunch? Craig's response, and I quote, ha ha, this is awesome. Let them eat that, man.
I didn't say that.
That's what you said.
No, I did not at all,
Craig
sir.
canceled lunch because he made the right choice.
No.
He said, I got quesadillas coming, and I'm good.
Well, listen, I'm not a pig, right? I mean, you bring in 35 quesadillas. I'm good with that. I'm sure Tommy would have been good with that. Big Mac clearly was good with that because I got in. There's only 19 quesadillas left. Sorry about that, Big Mac's the way it goes. But here's the other thing.
Evan had more than I did.
You guys also know that this morning I was on live television between 9:30 and noon.
Yes.
You could have turned it on, okay? You text me while I'm working.
And you wrote back while you were working.
Yeah, because I was hungry.
11:22 in the midst. And here's my problem.
You are
so
the worst.
Vincent Von Vincent, who's been, I would define him as like a semi-contributor to the show.
I think that's a fair way to put
and
it.
based on last night when I was driving home from the Met game, he was co-hosting with Keith McPherson. So like they were doing a show together. Rosie was giving all his Met opinions. Rosie doesn't eat cheese. Well, that's on him. Quesadillas involve cheese. So what I think Rosie should do is take his little cheese ban, put it away, and enjoy some homemade quesadillas.
No, because now I got to buy the guy lunch. I said I would, so it's on me.
Why do you have to buy him lunch?
Because I was going to buy everybody lunch today, as we discussed yesterday. And then you had this great quesadilla offer, which is very generous of your father-in-law, of course. And I am appreciative of it. And like I said, I'm good. You're good.
Yeah.
Big Mac's good. I assume Tommy had a couple quesadillas. If not, then I got to get him lunch too. And by the way, it's my pleasure. You guys tell me what you want for lunch, and I will get it. I'll Grubhub it, and we'll be good to go.
Appreciate
My
that.
pleasure.
I'm not going to have a quesadilla, though, at a protest to Evan, because
Well,
you
that's
stood
on
me
you.
up.
Well, that's
That's
disrespectful to Jose.
No, it's all disrespect to
He
you.
made quesadillas with love, and
Yeah.
you basically said, go
Well,
bleep
hold on a
yourself.
second, Evan. To be fair,
Yeah.
you know I'm on TV. I wasn't going to start reaching out to people. You very simply could have said, hey, guys, we'll change of plans. Jose made 35 quesadillas. We're having that instead. I talked to Craig. He's good with it.
Yeah.
Tommy's waiting in a door lane.
Like an idiot.
Now, to be fair, though, you're an adult.
Am
you're,
I?
You're sitting at a restaurant.
Yes.
Order food.
Yeah, why do you have to wait for Uncle Craig to come?
No, because I
Order
figured,
food, dude.
well, you're the food orderer, so I didn't want to step on your toes. Last week here, I was definitely not going to do that.
Yeah. No, Craig would have walked into the restaurant and it wouldn't have been, you ordered food already?
You embarrassed
No.
yourself. You embarrassed yourself.
Yeah, you embarrassed yourself. What'd you get? The sliders?
That's certainly possible. That could have happened. So,
and not only that,
so
you
that's
know,
where we're at.
Ev sends me a text message. Come help me carry it.
Oh, I had a
Some
lot of food
nerve.
to carry.
So
I
like-
couldn't carry it myself.
And I'm like, what? Okay. And
You're
then
funny.
I'm with him, and we're walking up. I'm like, all right, so what do we just put this down and go to lunch? Oh, no, lunch is canceled. I'm like, it's 12:35. I'm sure someone's at the restaurant.
All I needed was a text. One text just letting me know not to come in
Yeah.
5 hours before my shift
Well,
starts.
like I said, I will gladly buy you lunch. There's 2 places across the street that I recommend, or whatever you want. Doesn't
Just
matter to
make
me.
sure there's no cheese on whatever you order him.
I
He's
asked
gonna order it, I'm
yesterday
gonna
if I
pay
get a
for it.
quesadilla without cheese.
No, you're going to order what you want. I'll pay for it. I promised you lunch today, and I will certainly fulfill my obligation and buy you lunch.
Craig, you're a gentleman
and
and a
that's the way it goes. That being said, Evan, how tough a night was last night for you? You were at the game last night.
Yeah.
Verlander gets pulled after 5, 100 whatever pitches.
That pissed
and
me
then
off.
6th inning, you knew full well was going to happen.
Yeah, I think sitting there, it was like a funeral for me and 30,000 of my closest friends. But really, it comes down to the fact that this team on a nightly basis will lose in different ways. So last night, we could talk about Verlander and Drew Smith giving up the home run, but the offense was limp. The offense did nothing. And that's the story of the 2023 Mets. We can sit here and blame the pitching and blame the bullpen and blame the offense and blame the manager and blame the GM and blame Edwin Diaz's injury. But last night's a perfect example, Craig. They will find a way to lose. Last night was offense does nothing. That was really why they lost that game last night. They scored 1 run, and think about how they scored the 1 run. Starling Marte stole second, went to third on an error, and scored on a sac fly. They didn't get a runner in scoring position the rest of the night.
Right. That's called manufacturing a single run. I tell you what I noticed, Evan, and not that social media is real or that you should pay attention to it, because God knows we've gotten enough emails that it's not real and it's not the way the majority of people think. However, every now and then I think it's a good tool. And I think it's a good tool recognizing that social media is always going to be much more negative than positive. I still think it's a decent tool. And I did notice something when I woke up this morning that I can't say I've seen before, any other loss this year at the level I saw it last night. And
What's
again,
that?
I could be off on it, so I'll lean on you as a guy that probably will go to 50 games this year as a diehard Met fan. I now see people lashing out at Steve Cohen for disappearing. For when you won 101 games last year, and you're socially active on Twitter or Instagram, whatever it is, and you're in it with the fans, and you're taking questions, and you're trying to be funny or glib or whatever the case may be. And now we're watching Rome burn, essentially, and they're 8 games under 500, 8.5 games out of a wild card spot, as you said yesterday. 5 teams, whatever it is that you're chasing. And the thing is falling apart. Like, it may not be recoverable. If this continues another 2 weeks, it may be a wrap for real, and that's not hyperbole. I think that's just mathematics, right? And I am now seeing not an anti-Steve Cohen rhetoric. I don't think that's fair. But where are you, buddy?
Right.
What do you have to say about
I think
this?
what makes it difficult is that we hear from him when things are good.
And you can't be that guy in this town.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants someone who pops their head up after one random victory to say hell of a win. But I think Hal Steinbrenner taught people a lesson last week. If fans aren't happy, there's very little an owner can say in the midst of a season short of actions that's going to make anybody feel better. So let's play a game. Steve Cohen decides, I'm going to go on Twitter today. All right, he's going to come on with us. Whatever he decides, if he wants to speak to the people. Other than a firing, which is action, not words, what could he possibly say right now that's going to make me or anyone else say, oh, I feel okay now?
All right, I'll play the game.
Play the game, 'cause I'm
let me play
curious.
the game. if Steve Cohen said in some type of way, shape, or form, I'll paraphrase, obviously, because he hasn't said it. If he said something to the effect of, this is wholly unacceptable.
Okay.
This is not what I paid for.
Okay.
Or what I thought I was paying for. I am not going to sit idly by and just waste the season. Something along those lines.
So he says that, Craig.
And he says, I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
That's the problem.
Because if you're going to do it, you do it, right?
That's the
if
problem.
I'm firing a manager, GM.
Yeah.
But if he comes out and says something along the lines of, I'm disgusted. I hear my fans. I'm with them. They're right. This is unacceptable. This is going to be fixed. And while I may not be talking a lot, and I may not give you exactly what you want when you want it, trust in the fact that I find this unacceptable. And I'm working behind the scenes to right the wrong. Something along those lines.
Right.
Again, listen, the fan base, rightfully so, wants blood. The fan base also isn't always right when we want blood.
Right.
We've made mistakes. The problem for us is that we've never lost. We're the fan base,
Yeah,
right?
the entire fan base wanted to hire Buck Showalter a year and a half ago.
Exactly right. That's the guy you all wanted. That's the guy that was the manager of the year last year and won 101 games and then, of course, failed in the playoffs. So Buck Showalter has not forgotten how to manage a baseball team. But it's almost like it's so unacceptable the way this team is playing. Like you said, they either score 6 and give up 7 or score 1 and give up 2. Pitching's great one night.
They find ways to
Hitting
lose.
sucks the other, whatever it might be.
It's the same way every single night. It's different ways like we saw last night compared to Sunday.
I'm not sure. Listen, I guess anything short of firing Billy Epler or Buck may not be enough for a certain percentage of Met fans. I don't think that's all Met fans by a long shot. But I think if it's to me, this might be even elementary. I could be dead wrong on this. But I think if you said to Met fans, if he came out and said, look, here's the deal. You guys are right. I don't know what the hell we did with Mark Vientos. I'm just using him as one example, right? Mm-hmm. So here's what I did. I recognize that kid's got to play, and I think he's good enough to play here. He's our new starter. He's playing every day.
Hold on a second. As much as I want Mark Vientos to play every day, and I want him to play every day, I do not want the owner of the team, who knows as much baseball as, like, any other fan, to now all of a sudden insist over the GM that he hired and the manager that he hired, this is the baseball decision you're going to make. See, that was the bad of George Steinbrenner.
Let me ask you this.
I don't want that.
If he comes out and says, let's just say it's like we take a truth serum, right? Right. And he's got Wonder Woman's lasso around him so he cannot tell a lie.
Right.
All right? That's the premise this for a moment. If he said to you as a fan, I asked Billy Epler and Buck Showalter to walk me through why we did with I'm just using Mark as one example.
How we handled Mark Vientos.
I know it's not everything, but it's some of it, right?
Yeah, if you're picking one thing, that's
I'm
fine.
just picking one thing.
Go.
And I sat down with them and I asked them to explain to me why we did what we did. Because as a fan, I didn't get it. We brought the kid up and we barely played him. And when we did play him, it was always haphazard, right? And I was dissatisfied with the answer they gave me. So I said to them, if you brought him up and I insisted that he play every day, tell me why that's a bad idea.
Okay.
And I didn't like their answer.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I'm only one guy. I wouldn't want any of that.
Oh, I would.
I don't want my owner owning like that. I want my owner to do two things. And
spend
so far,
money, which he does.
So far, he's done one of the two things. Spend money and put the right people in charge.
Well, he has not done the latter.
And the jury is definitely out on the right people being in charge. So while, it doesn't make Cohen look good that he's got a passive-aggressive tweet from 4 days ago making some kind of dad joke, and it doesn't look good that he pops up and talks about a great win and ignores when things are going bad, but there's very little he can say that's going to please anybody. There are things he can do that would please people.
Yeah.
Firing a coach, firing a manager, firing a GM, and that's far different. But words mean very little. Like when Hal Steinbrenner talks publicly, there's nothing he can do that's going to make a Yankee fan happy. They either want the GM fired, the manager this, a big trade here. Words don't do anything.
And I'll do you one better. Hal Steinbrenner did an interview last week. I heard the majority of it. He answered every question. Actually had a lot of energy and emotion in how he answered questions. And not a single Yankee fan was moved by it. Because like you said, it's great to hear it, but how does that make my team better?
So Craig, Steve says all the right things.
Yeah.
He says, this is unacceptable. I'm going to go back to the lab and study what's wrong with my franchise. The end result's going to be, great, you did nothing. Great, the Mets are going to play a Tuesday night at Rainy City Field, and what's going to be different? So, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Other Met fans can start being mad at Steve Cohen and yelling at him and saying it. He is our hope. The only thing that's going to save this franchise, as it was 2 years ago, as it is today, is Steve Cohen. Because Steve Cohen's money, which, yes, has failed this season, I own that, it's also their way out.
Yeah.
Because if they decide to sell, their weapon's going to be their money. If they decide to buy some more next year, the weapon's going to be their money. The money, which did not work this year, doesn't mean it never works. He's the hope. His payability is the hope.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
words aren't going to do a damn thing on June 27th. It's the actions, and it may seem small and it may seem minor, but when you take Eduardo Escobar and you pay off his salary to improve the kinds of young players you're going to get back, that's the kind of stuff Steve Cohen's going to have to do to rescue this franchise.
Well, from our mouths to listeners' ears, Steve Cohen has just put out a tweet.
Oh, really?
Steve Cohen will be doing a press conference tomorrow before the game. You will get it from me straight. So there you go.
Great. What's he going to say?
That's the answer.
And it goes back to everything I just
Yeah.
said. Okay, we got a press conference before tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
What's he going to do?
Well,
what's he going to say? And what would take to please anybody other than actions? So everything I just said to you in the last 12 minutes, yes.
Well, listen, he's having a press conference tomorrow. That doesn't mean he's firing anybody tomorrow. It means he's going to give you his opinion on what's going on, and more importantly than that, what he intends to do as the owner to try to change it. But that's going to be what time? Do we know what time that's going to be yet? Well, what time's the game tomorrow?
7 o'clock. So it'll be when we're on the air.
6 o'clock,
5, 6
maybe
o'clock.
5, 6 o'clock.
May have to stay late for that press
Yeah,
conference.
no, I'll be in the bathroom, but I'll hear it for sure. All right, so there you go. So tomorrow night. And then, of course, you know, the average Met fan's going to say, why are you waiting till tomorrow? Why not before tonight?
Yeah, what if they win tonight?
They better win tonight.
But go back to what I just asked you.
Yes.
Because now it's real. Now it's no longer a
There you go.
hypothetical.
That's official.
What could he possibly say? Because I can tell you right now as a Met fan, words mean very little. It's all actions.
Well, I also wonder this. I'm assuming this is the case. I don't know it for fact. He's taking questions, right?
That's what a press conference is.
Sometimes I go up, I make a statement, and my people walk me off the stage. I would assume he's taking questions.
No, I assume with a press conference, he's answering questions.
So, hey, guys, check with SNY. I'm sure they're finding this out as we are about tomorrow's press conference. We're gonna carry that live tomorrow. So let's just make sure from SNY that they're on board with that.
I love how he tweeted this out at 2:15. So it was in the process of having this entire discussion.
I mean, maybe there's a chance he's listening right now, and someone said you should turn on the fan. People want to hear from you. Because this all started with me saying, I've just noticed recently, after last night's game, more people reaching out, going, where the hell's the owner?
Right.
Right? Because, again, we only know of Steve Cohen through stories that we've read about him. He's not been owner long enough to really build that kind of personal relationship with us just yet. And while his wife has done great things charity-wise, and he has in the community, and I know stories of certain fans that have reached out based on certain experiences at the stadium, he has been great. You and I, of course, have spent some time with him at the Pete Alonso events we've done. Very generous at those events with his time and with offering people access to his box. You know, little things like that, right? That go a long way. But this will be this will be his first crisis press conference.
Oh, no question, because...
And how he handles it, I think, you start building... not just a relationship, but an opinion outside of his ability and willingness to write a check. You're going to figure out if you like him.
We're going to find out how he handles bad moments.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing we haven't seen. He's only been here for 3 years. And I think a part of why you brought this up and other Met fans have brought it up is because when you put yourself out there on social media and you tweet, hey, that was a crazy game, that was fun, or whatever comment you make about a game, you put yourself out there to say, well, if you're talking on June 7th or June 14th, why aren't you talking today when things are bad? If
Right.
Steve Cohen wasn't active on social media, there'd still be some talk of hearing what he has to say, but less so because he had put himself out there in the past.
You can't be a good time Charlie. You can't be a guy that only talks and interacts with the fans when you're winning 101 games.
But again, I ask you this question. What do you want to hear?
I told you what I want to hear.
Just, hey, this is unacceptable, and I'm going to figure out what to do.
Disgusted with this product.
And then what? And who do you blame for that, Steve?
Well, let's see how he answers the questions.
No. You're Steve Cohen.
Yeah.
He has said what you said, which I think is great because it's red meat for Met fans.
Yep.
It's unacceptable. I'm embarrassed. This is pathetic. Okay, you got that out of the way. Who do you blame?
Well, I think you got to blame your front office.
So you blame your
and
front
I think
office.
you got to blame your players.
Okay, you're going to blow up your front office, Steve?
Maybe.
Or are you going to fire Billy Epler?
What if he says this? I'm not going to make any moves during the season. I don't think it's appropriate.
Okay.
But everything's on the table.
My follow-up to you is how do you handle the trade deadline then? If you have a general manager that you may fire at the end of the
Much
season.
like I handle the offseason, they will come to me with opportunities to acquire players. And if the collective says I should do it for the betterment of my team, I will do it. But when this season is over, we will have some very hard conversations.
Why does Buck Showalter still have a job, Steve?
Because he was manager of the year last year, and he did not forget how to manage. And because we got off to a bad start, I should not judge him based on that when he has a year under his belt of winning.
What about the many other examples of firing a manager middle of the season? We saw it last year with Philadelphia that somehow can spark a team. Why not try, Mr. Cohen, to spark your team?
Because I could give you just as many examples of when that doesn't work. What else? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's the game we're playing.
Why
right?
stand idly by then?
I'm not
You're
saying
9
idly
games
by.
out of a wild card spot in the
Yes.
loss column,
Yes.
and your answer is, well, I could find examples where firing the manager doesn't work.
Yeah.
Don't you want to try something?
Yes, and just because you don't hear from me on social media does not mean we're actively trying to make things better.
So what are you trying to do?
Well, if I told you that, then I wouldn't be doing my job. I can't tell you everything.
I can't tell you.
Yeah, but trust me in this, where we never sleep. We're always awake trying to better our
This
team.
is going to be challenging because it is very difficult during a moment like this where a season is going down the tubes. It's as pathetic of a Mets season as we've seen in a long time for Steve Cohen to win a press conference. It's easy to win a press conference when you first took the job and you talk about the history and you talk about winning and you talk about spending. But what can you possibly say in late June with the Mets putting together one of the most pathetic seasons we've seen in our lifetime? What can you say that's going to please the majority of Met fans other than actions?
Yeah, well, listen, those are two different things, but maybe actions start with words. And I'll be very interested to see how he handles this tomorrow. And I'd love to know who's sitting down with him to go over what the speech is going to be. Because it's going to open with a speech, right?
Yeah.
Now he's got a board of directors. He's got qualified, quality people around him in that organization. He truly does. And now it's going to be, do you say what you want to say, or do you say what you think the fans want to hear? And those could be two different things. Like, who is he speaking to?
He's speaking to the fans.
But is the idea give them what they want, or just be transparently honest?
Yeah.
Yeah, those could be two different
The
things.
problem is what the fans want right now
Is blood.
action. It's
Yes.
blood.
Yes.
And if Steve Cohen is not going to govern like that, and the indications are early on he's not going to make these kinds of decisions, then what words are going to please Met fans?
I got a good question for him. Ready for this one?
Go ahead.
If the New York Mets were GameStop, what would you do?
How does he answer that one?
That'd be a good one, right? I do everything in my power to save everybody's money. Okay, good. Refunds for everybody. That'd be nice, right?
Oh, yes.
Something like
There's
that.
a lot of tickets the Mets have sold throughout
Yeah.
this summer that have already been sold. People have their tickets. They get in their giveaways. They bought those hot tickets in August. And right now, many, many people who bought those tickets are saying, how the hell do I get my money back?
We got lots to do. 877-337-6666. I'm told we have a couple guests coming by today just to say hi and goodbye. And I'm also being told, Evan, that we have an update on the future of the blame poll. Oh. Is it Johnny or Joey?
John.
John? You sure about that?
Positive.
My guy, John?
Your guy, John.
My guy, John.
Unless you have a guy, Joe, but I spoke to John.
I got Joe, too.
I have a John.
You got a John, I got a Joe.
John's coming on.
John's coming on, not Joe?
Not Joe, John.
Maybe I got it wrong.
Or maybe John and Joe. I don't know.
You
It's
think they're
John.
the same guy?
They could be.
Hold on, let me just check my phone right here. Von Rohr. I got a Danny Von Rohr. I got a Vincent Von Rohr. I got a Joe Von Rohr.
No John? I have a John Von Rohr
By the way,
here.
just because you put a name in your phone doesn't mean it's right.
And I called him John. Hey, John. And I didn't get a, sorry, I'm Joe.
Why don't you just ask to make sure I'm talking to the right person later? Will you please? Do you mind?
Yeah.
I just double check because I got it as Joe.
So I should say, hey, Craig thinks your name is Joe. Is it in fact John?
Well, let me check. Maybe
kinda weird.
How about this? Maybe I have a text message, and earlier in the text chain, He's like, hey, Craigie, it's Joe or John.
I spoke to people here internally, and they told me it was John, not Joe. Now, you would think they'd say there is
So
another
the question
Joe.
is, who do you trust? Loogie talking to actual humans that work here, or the name Craig put in his phone?
Ah, very good question, right? Hang on a second. I'm looking. Still looking. Wait a minute. It's getting close now. It's getting close. Boy, this goes back. We have a very long relationship. My Lord. I'm now February of 22. All right, here we go.
Keep going. I think you got to go back to 21.
Yeah, 21's the blame poll.
All right, hold on a second. I'm now in January of 22.
Jeez.
Hang on a second.
How much writing did you? You wrote this guy so
and I-
much,
listen.
and yet you don't know his name.
He and I are good friends.
I mean, this
That's
has to
all.
be a record for the furthest you've gone along without knowing the human's name
All
that
right,
you're
so
texting.
it goes back to November of 21. That's the earliest text
And
message
what's the
I
first
have.
message? What does it say?
Craig Carton here. Can't thank you enough. Videos coming. That's when we acquired the
Okay,
Blade
and what
Book.
was his response?
Craig, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for working with us. One day, come to my place, go shopping, anything you want.
So no name exchange.
Then come down to the horse farm. We train horses there. Your kids will love it.
Nice.
There you go.
So you never had an introduction. It was never a, hi, I'm Bob. Hi, I'm Joe.
I feel like his name is Joe. I've always called him Joe.
But you threw John out there yesterday, too.
I didn't mean to.
You were like, hey, John, and then Joe, which threw me off, which is why I went for clarification.
What's his actual name?
John.
Oh, it is John. Okay.
The guy I'm talking to, his name is John, which is
John.
the number Craig gave me.
And you have it in your phone as Joe Van Roar?
Maybe Joe's his middle name.
This is a tough spot for
John
for
Joe?
me.
You think his name is John
I'm just
Joe?
considering they've been very kind to us as a show, and I want to take the blame poll and make it mine, at least temporarily.
They're huge fans of ours.
And they're great guys, and if you need to rent any kind of machinery,
Definitely.
I highly recommend Von Rohr Equipment Corp. They're great. I mean, they helped me out when I needed to rent a wood splitter. Bang, got a wood splitter. They helped me fix my snowblower, chainsaws, all the stuff we use for chopping wood. They're great. And you're telling me I've been calling them the wrong name for 3 years?
Yes.
I don't think. I mean, that would really, that would really be a problem. You sure you got the right number?
Yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? Just ask him before you put him on. Would that be
What
fair?
his name is?
What am I asking?
Just
What's
say,
your
hey.
name, sir?
I've asked a lot of weird questions
Just
for
say,
you over the
hey,
years.
it's Joe, right? Just do that.
No, because yesterday I wrote, hey, John.
Yeah?
And I would feel like he would correct me. Again, I also spoke to people here and told me that it's John, not Joe.
All right, so I'm going to text him. Hold on. Did I call you Joe
Joe.
by mistake? Hold on.
Oh, that's not awkward at all.
Did I call you Joe by mistake yesterday? That's a good question, right? Yeah, send it, find out.
It's like an awkward Evan Dayton.
All right, listen, we're gonna get all your calls. 877-337-6666. We got the press conference on until tomorrow, so that'll be 40 hours of press conference talk here on WFAN and 3 hours of Al Dukes wondering why he's not nominated for a Pulse of the People Award when he truly hates people. Yeah, every time someone tweets out right now, why hasn't Al been nominated, he likes the tweet. And I answered it quite succinctly.
Oh, that's his passive
I love
aggressive
Al Dukes. He's a
way.
dear friend. He hates people. Period. Stop. So that's why you were nominated. All right? Got it?
I get it. The question is, does he get it?
Yeah. Plus, you probably flew first class to see John Cougar Mellencamp in concert. I'm not going to say where because it's not my position to, but it was Indiana. So that's another reason why you're not Pulse of the People.